Hey guys, old blue cord back again. Had a question on the forums. Remember this channel we support 3gs.com, www.3gs.com. It's a forum for my third generation Honda Accord right here. And we had a question on the forum about cleaning your distributor cap, which that's a pretty good question. I only got a bug in there. Well, cleaning your distributor cap is something you do. We used to call it the old Friday night tune-up. So, you got home from work, maybe you got you something to drink, and then you'd go ahead and give the car a once over. And the reason why you would do it on a Friday night is because Saturday night is race night, right? You're going to go out and do a little goofing around with your car or whatever. You want it to be in tip-top shape. So you put your clutch in and clean your spark plugs and, you know, get it all spiffed up and ready to go. But, yeah, so we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to kind of do this on the fly. I've got something I'm sort of thinking about as I'm filming, so forgive me. But, yeah. We'll start with the distributor cap. So, the distributor cap is on your distributor, and it's bolted right here to little screws. I would go ahead and take this completely off. Now, usually what happens is the cap over time gets a little corrosion. Oh yeah, you can see it good right there. As you can see, that corrosion, it should really look like the bottom, brand new. But as the rotor goes around, you can see every one of them, you're going to get this build up here, and it's really because these are made out of pot metal. Now you can buy a distributor cap, probably not for our car, but a lot of cars, they used to have what they call brass inserts or brass copper, and then you won't get that corrosion. It's kind of nice. Now, so what you want to do is you want to get in there and just as best as you can, and sometimes I just use a screwdriver. You can also use, I'm going to try to do this while on the camera. Yeah, you can just get in there and scrape that crap off of there. Now, once you do that, you don't want to gouge it too bad. Well, you want to get that out of there. And you can use a little sandpaper. You know, get you some sandpaper and get down in there. This one's pretty hard to do. And I actually nowadays I have a Dremel. I just have a Dremel tool. And I'll put a little thing on there and zit, zit, zit. The problem with that is, when you do that, this cap is actually pretty worn anyway. And I had saved it. I know it's a good used one, and I had saved it. That's the reason why I have it here. And I've got the rotor too. Is once you do scrape that clean, it's going to run great. But because you scraped that coating off, it's going to come back, let's just say, with a vengeance. So you scrape that all off and drive it a month and come back to this, you're going to have this corrosion on here, probably worse than what you started. So it's kind of almost like a catch-22. You want it clean and nice, get you a nice spark, but at the same time it's a little bit self-defeating. Like you can see there, just with scraping that, I've got quite a bit of that corrosion off of there. And the Dremel tool works better. Now if you look at the inside, you also have this button. Now this you really can't do a whole lot with, because it's actually, and you can see this one's worn from the rotor. You can rub it a little bit like I'm doing with my finger. I would not scratch that, because that's a carbon fiber type material, and it's just not going to be able to, it's just going to break apart usually. I mean, you can do that with your finger, maybe just a light sandpaper. See, I took a little bit off, but I would not recommend, if you've got a divot like that, it needs to be replaced, because this part, and you can see where this one's been rubbing hard, this part of the rotor rides on that button, and they have to touch, because the spark is going through there out to the tip of this rotor, and the tip of this rotor's spinning around and hitting each one of these points, and that's what fires your plugs. Boom, 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 boom. So kind of a weird setup when you think about it, because there's all those open gaps where spark has to either go through here and then jump across here, then jump. It's kind of a strange thing. So you also have corrosion on the tip of your rotor, and I think I've cleaned this one, but you can see, yeah, see how much it's kind of corroded. It's actually an electrical arc pitting, And I've seen them way worse than this, where especially if your timing's off, it'll run off the tip here, and it'll just erode all this away. So it doesn't hurt to take a little sandpaper and just clean that too, make it shine. Like I said, this is like the old backyard Friday night. You have your little, maybe a little beer. You do a little sanding. You look everything over real good. And that ain't bad. That ain't great. It helped a little bit. It's a little shinier. A lot of these, though, like I said, the material they make it where once you knock this coating off, let's give this one a good hard rub. Once you knock this coating off, you're probably down to something that's not very good metal. Yeah, see, it's still not very good. It's not shiny. Now, of course, you don't want to just grind this down, because then you're going to make too much of a gap. So you're just cleaning contacts is all you're doing. Cleaning, and this stuff you can clean off too. You know, like I said, scrape that. But this one's obviously a worn rotor where the button's actually dug in. So these would be, I would probably replace this even though it ran. And, you know, at the same thing, you can do the same thing with your spark plugs. If you want to take off 4 of your spark plugs out. Back in the old days when cars burned oil a lot and had some loose, we would do the same thing. We'd take the plug out, inspect it, and yeah, guys, they didn't buy plugs every week for their car. They take that, take a little sandpaper right in the gap, bink, 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 clean, brand new, set your gap again, whatever your little gapping gauge, and you plug them in, you're off to the races. But it's like a little backyard tune-up. Doesn't cost you anything but a little elbow grease. I wouldn't hurt, especially if you're trying to get a car running. I think the question was, he had a car that sat a lot, and he wanted to just kind of clean it up and get it to run a little bit better. So just cleaning up this cap and rotor can't hurt at all. You can do this right on the car. You don't have to take the spark plug wires off if you're afraid. These are kind of nice because they're actually marked. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think most of these caps are marked. Probably not all of them, but you always want to, if you're worried about taking your wires off, just label them. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 wires. You should be able to get it on there right, and that's your coil wire. There's really not much you can do otherwise. I've seen, you know, you'll get corrosion down in there. Possibly the coil wire doesn't fit good anymore. I've seen a lot of coil wire or spark plug wire sets where the boots just don't fit right on these caps. You'll see it, and then they'll be arcing inside here also. I think in this one there has been. Yeah, you know, it looks like there has been. See if I can get it to focus. Get closer. Yeah, something's happened in there. I've had a little arc over, and that's, you see, and then it'll start damaging your. It'll start damaging this plastic as it arcs over. Yeah, the spark is trying to go someplace else besides straight down in there, so, or straight out, I should say. Yeah, you can have that a lot, so kind of weird. All those connections can go bad. So anyway, that's the basic how to clean your cap and rotor. Reinstall, right? However it goes, bang, you're back in business. Well, thanks a lot for looking. It's Old Blue Cord, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my video, and check out 3gs.com. If you have any other questions, I'll certainly try to help. Appreciate y'all looking. Thank you.